Good morning. This is Dwight Colby Smith in Richmond, Virginia. I've had a correspondent who's been talking a lot about channeling. And he and I are saying the very same thing as he tells me his concerns and so forth. We're saying the same thing. So this morning, some things came to me that I thought I'd address because, well, sometimes we think of channelers as just special people, and in a sense they are. But it's more than that. We're all channelers. Where does every thought come from that we think? It comes from the infinity possibility that exists in the universe everywhere present. Every possibility is everywhere present. Now it's constrained by the possibilities that we think are available. But all that we think are available, there's many more that we don't see. An example is I was at Lake Powell with relatives, Thelma's brother and Thelma and me, and some brother-in-laws and sister-in-laws, and it was just a nice small group of us, I think of maybe 8. And at nighttime, we were on the roof of the houseboat that we drove through the lake. And I was looking up at the stars. There's no darkness. There's no light pollution whatsoever. Just clear blueness, blackness of space with all these stars glittering. It's like, wow, how vast, how deep, how far does it go? Not only above me, but underneath me. All around me, these stars exist. And then the guy that was one of the guys up there with me said, "Oh, you think that's something?" He handed me binoculars. I thought, oh, I'm going to be able to see the man on the moon or, really close. But no, what happened was all the stars that I saw with the binoculars, there was an infinity of stars in between those. And with stronger binoculars, there'd probably be even more. So it's just amazing how vast this universe is, how big, how many conscious, as human conscious, individuals are there in the entire solar system, in our entire galaxy, and all the galaxies of the universe. To think that, quote, God, unquote, chose just a few to live on this one planet is absurd. It's arrogant. It's saying that God is human. God creates this environment and then God populates this environment. But it's the other way around. The consciousness creates the environment for it to exist in any form that it chooses. And so that's a little further than I wanted to begin with. So let me start with that. And I want to go to Ernest Holmes, one of my teachers. And he says in one of his examples of a spiritual mind treatment, each of us is a God-conscious center of the universe. Reflect on that. I am a God-conscious center of the universe. Each one of us claims I am. The entire universe supports I am. The well-known passage from somewhere in the Old Testament, could be Psalms, but I'm not sure. But it simply says, be still and know I am God. Change the inflection of those words. Be still and know I am God. Be still and know I am God. I am the allness that is, expressing. The trick is to be still. We can't hear it with the physical noise of fear and competition and finding fault and judging and all the work that our intellectual use of our brain does. But when we release all thought from our brain and release our intellect to be, instead of creative, but to be observer, we get to hear this infinite, universal presence through words, through feelings, through pictures, through colors, through whatever means. But when we still our mind, we get to be present. We get to recognize the truth of our being. We get to recognize the allness it is. We get to recognize what love, God love, pure love, infinite spiritual, intelligent, conscious love. And we individually get to experience it. I'm going to use another teacher, James Twyman, who added a comma to this very familiar phrase. I am that I am. And he added a comma that says, I am that I am. This is the more truth of God. It recognizes itself as everything that is. So, another teacher, I think it's Wallace Wattles is his name. And Holmes and Christ also says the same thing, but we are immersed in a thought atmosphere. That everything we think activates this atmosphere into activity to come into some form, some effect, some condition. Now just be in this experience as I talk about channeling. I have learned myself to be so much more than a physical body. I've learned so much more than I am only, I was going to say only solid, but that's a belief that I no longer accept, The air around us permeates our body. It goes through our body. It's within us and around us, through us, as us, it is us. Life, there is no separation. So I have this receptor in my body called a brain. The brain controls every function of the body. Controls the breathing, it orchestrates all the systems and organs to work together in harmony. It uses the intelligence to distribute the food, the nourishment to the body. And it also receives messages from the body where there is pain or something out of balance. So we think of the brain this way. So we think of the brain in this way. It's the only way that we have thought of the brain, even religious, even though it teaches us that there's a spiritual aspect to us. Still, the intention is to place on the brain for physical use, for judgment, for criticism, for righting a wrong, or wronging a right, and judging it as imperfect or not good. And as we use our brain in this way, we channel the brain in that very same way. We can't get something different until we do something different. until we think something different. So every time we think, we're channeling a thought from the universal infinity of possibility of thought. When I suffer, I use thought to give me everything to help me suffer. If it's in lack or physical harm or even dis-ease, because we can have dis-ease and still not be suffering. It's always a choice. In my meditation, it came to me that Adolf Hitler decided that there was only one perfect race in all of Germany and all of the world. And that was, of course, his race. And he saw every other race, every other characteristic of humanity, because it didn't stop with Jews. It included gays, it included all aspects of creation, of characteristics of humanity. He just wanted to waste them all. And we all look at that and say how horrible that is, but we do the same thing today. Because we keep that same consciousness at the physical level. Many people, I won't say many, I think they're very few, but they make a big splash in the news. But there are those who still feel that way. The white extremist. And there's even the privileged of white that take that privilege. We all have that privilege available to us. For God, Spirit doesn't have any special people. I love when these pieces of wisdom come in. Everything comes in with a consciousness of what to do, excluding people now. Everything on our planet has a purpose. Every tree, every blade of grass, every insect, every animal, every fish, every bacteria, everything is consciousness made visible. Consciousness has a purpose, and the form executes that purpose in the environment that it's in. And leaving man out of creation, it all works in perfect harmony, perfect balance, and we get to observe it. Now, this is the spirit of humanity. This is the spirit of the universe. This is the consciousness, the truth of the universe. Now, human comes along, and I'm going to start at the beginning of human because that's a great place to start. At least an aspect of human began this way. Others perhaps did come from other planets to populate this earth. I don't know. I'm open to all possibilities. But I will look at the possibility of the beginnings of human. That we began as a conscious being. Somehow we became aware of I am. And through this, different from all of the creation around us, we could plan, we could remember, we could execute our plans. As a village, we would come together to protect ourselves from the environment. First, there was animals. Then it became, as we became more populated, became more humans. And we felt, which is a natural law, of protecting and securing our environment. So from that, we developed warfare. Instead of working together as two communities coming into one and see how we could support one another as the rest of the universe did, instead we took to war. We took to, yeah, I'll just say took to war. As the animals do also. The animals also protect their environment. They claim their territory. And woe unto those who come into their territory. This is the animal nature to do this. The spiritual nature doesn't do that. Spiritual nature provides more than everything needed to support all of its environment. And so from this, we have developed these beautiful caves that we call houses that give us the environment that's comfortable, cool in the summer, warm in the winter, protected from wind and rain and snow and ice. We have developed this through using our intelligence and building upon it, saying we can make this better. We can improve upon perfection. We can improve upon perfection because we believe we can improve upon perfection. I'm going to pause there. I got off on a different track. I think I want to go back to Adolf Hitler for a moment. That he was in a mindset of creating perfection in the way that he thought was a proper way. The mindset of God, of spirit, was still available to him. It's like on most of our radios, we have the mode for AM and the mode for FM. So he could be operating in AM, not realizing there's even an FM available to him. And so it is with us. We can stay in this physical third dimension of feeling we have to fight for what we want or need, or compete, or to protect, and all these kinds of things. And to a degree, yes. But when our focus is on that, we're staying in the AM mode of our beingness. But then when we turn on to FM, we realize there's a whole set of possibilities available to us that we had no idea. Many of us, when we pray or commune, we get the sense of this. But it's available to us 24/7, as they say. It's everywhere, every time present. So we set our channel. We turn our dial to say, what are the thoughts that I want to entertain today? My mind wants to play with that. Or how do I want to be entertained by my thoughts? My consciousness, I tell it what to do. And it does it. Totally. Every thought I give with feeling, with conviction, with desire, with energy. I'll just say energy because it can be good or bad. It's just energy. Must manifest. Has no choice. So in the mornings when I meditate for my day, I turn my channel to the consciousness of me. That's the consciousness of the universe. Absolute perfection, absolute purity, absolute knowingness and self-awareness, absolute knower of all that is. And as I ask it for guidance, it gives me exactly what I asked for. It's its law. It's not like a parent saying, oh yes, I'll do this for you. No, it's not that at all. Each of us is the I am director of our lives. So the goal of life is to open the channel constantly, consistently, to the universal, the all-knowing, the everywhere present. My friend, mentor, and master teacher, Jesus, shows me the possibility of what does it look like when I'm always tuned in to the Father, when I'm always channeling from that higher consciousness. It looks like love without conditions. It looks like authenticity without embarrassment and confidence. It is allowing the Father to do its work of creativity that can change any energy, idea, and form. It wasn't magic. Jesus could give sight to the blind. He knew how to allow Father, through him, and the blind, to allow the Father within him or her to receive the sight, to make the adjustment in the energies that would remove whatever was causing the blindness and allow sight to be restored. We think of Jesus and God as magicians. Impossible. God can only be. We get to say what it will be. We can look upon our world as imperfect and make it perfect by removing all the obstacles that are imperfect. But a favorite awareness I have is we don't heal the alcoholic by taking away alcohol. The healing is within always. Create in me a new heart, oh God, a new life, a new idea, a new mode of living. Let me live from spirit rather than living from intellect. Allow my intellect to be what is meant to be, a tool for spirit to use, to discern, to understand. We humans are so blessed. And individually, we create the kingdom of heaven for ourselves through our alignment with Father. Jesus shows us all the rewards of that. He wanted for nothing. He was free. He was powerful. He only spoke truth. And it was as powerful as David's stone into Goliath's head. That's within everyone. We can choose to listen to it, the FM station, or we can choose to listen to the AM station. And the transition is to go between the stations, the modes. Sometimes I'm in AM. Most of the time I'm in FM. Most of the time I have peace and joy, understanding, acceptance, truth, intelligent guidance for choices and decisions. So for me, this is what channeling is. There are those who open their energy fields to those on the other side, and they attract those entities. Esther Hicks is one of those with Abraham. I have a friend, Sayan, who channels many entities. And it's beautiful to see these entities come through him. One has him perform things physically that he would never attempt in the physical mind. He walked on a railing once of someone's porch. And to see the agility of this man doing it, there's no way he could do it as a human without much training, which he does not have. So there is this channeling that will give us what we open ourselves to find. I just seek that gives peace and harmony, joy, support, encouragement to myself and one another. I love showing people the good that they are and remove the way they see themselves. It may only take place for a moment, maybe just in that conversation, but one that we've been working for a while, and now she's on her own, and for 3 weeks she's been on this feeling of worthiness from a place of great despair before. She's tuned into the FM station, and it's her favorite station now. So if you have any questions on channeling, I don't know if this answers them or raise more questions. If you want to communicate anything, it's ChapelintheSky at AOL.com. ChapelintheSky at AOL.com. So, and if you'd like to see more of my YouTube presentations, my channel is Chapel-in-the-Sky. The hyphens are necessary. So I thank you. I thank you for being a witness to this, and I look forward to your feedback because I'm growing all the time. My FM station has more channels on it than I even knew. So I thank you for your participation in our world. And so I wish you for this day, a blessed week, a blessed month, a blessed year. The year where we have peace on earth by December 31st. God bless.